Hello everyone, this is a quick walkthrough of the Sentwiment Twitter Analytics tool. Once you have launched it from the website, this pop-up window will appear and you are basically right in the action. What does Sentwiment do? It's quite simple actually. It grabs all the tweets that pertain to specific ticker symbols and analyzes them for their bias towards the market. The bias will be determined based on the choice of language, so stronger bullish or stronger bearish language has a higher rating than weaker language. It will also be determined based on how fresh the message is, so as a message gets older within our monitoring, it loses its value. And the third factor for determining the value of a message is the importance of the message, which is measured by the number of followers that the person has that sent the message into the Twitterverse. And as you can see, the first table is comprised of indices, currencies, and commodities. In all, these are currently 19. And on the next table, which we call popular, we show stocks that have a high number of followers. Please don't be alarmed by all these empty bars. I'm recording this after hours, and as there are no tweets, there is also no sentiment towards certain stocks at this moment. The third table that we have is called Top 20, and here we would display up to 20 ticker symbols based on participation for that particular day. Again, as it is after hours, right now the only symbols that have some kind of participation of importance are these three currency pairs, but during normal trading hours you should see as many as 20 of the most actively tweeted about stocks, indices, or currencies. Let's go back to the main table and go into this into more detail. Now, as you can see, on the left hand we have the symbol column, and I guess this is fairly self-explanatory. We have named each symbol. What might have to be added here is the fact that we aggregate tweets that pertain to the same item. So, for example, at the top, the S&P 500, we are actually looking for tweets for the future symbol ES_F, for the ETF Spider SPY, and for the SPX, which many people use when they tweet to express something about the index. What that does for us is that we receive more tweets towards the same item, and the more tweets you get, the better is the aggregation and the filtering of the actual mood of the market. Obviously for stocks this is not possible. A stock has one symbol and there it's only what you can grab. Now if we move on to the next column, as you can see there, we call this column tweets, and it's very simple. The red number here talks about the number of negative tweets. The middle number is the number of neutral tweets, and the right number is the number of positive tweets. As you can see, there are little pop-up windows opening, and at the bottom of these pop-up windows you have a value. For example, here the negative value is 1.9 as compared to the positive value 0.5. This goes back to what I explained at the very beginning. We show the actual number of messages, and within this pop-up we show what these messages are worth in terms of adding towards the sentiment calculation. So right now these are the values. Obviously for the neutral there is no value assessed. Neutral tweets means, in our definition, it is either a tweet that just has a common remark about the item and therefore has no bias, or it is a tweet that our computer did not understand and could not categorize as positive or negative. Now this doesn't have a whole lot of bearing. Obviously, as you can see here, for the Euro-US dollar there are quite a lot of tweets that cannot be identified, but that doesn't mean that the analytics are any less accurate. In fact, you may know this from polling, for example. If you want to know what a larger crowd thinks, you don't have to ask everybody. You can just ask a very small sample group, as small as 5% and less, to get a more or less accurate reading on the mood. This is fairly similar in this case. I personally believe that if 20% of all the tweets posted about one symbol can be categorized, then the reading should be fairly accurate. Let's move on to the third column. As you can see, it's represented by a bar, and the bar expresses the sentiment in percentage terms. Again, going back to the S&P 500, 79% negative sentiment, 21% positive. And if you click on this bar, you will actually see a chart that overlays the sentiment, here expressed by the red line, and the price action expressed by the blue line. What we found in our creation of this is that whenever the sentiment is oscillating closely around the neutral line, there isn't really much to assess when it comes to determining what the next move of any particular item will be. However, and I will see if I can find a good example at this moment. As you can see here, which has just occurred a few minutes ago, the sentiment for the Euro-US dollar was all the way to the negative, and almost right once that occurred, you actually saw quite a significant move. And while I do not want to say it's always the opposite move, what I can say is if the sentiment hits an actual extreme, either to the bullishness or to the bearishness, there will be some kind of move shortly thereafter. That is what we have observed so far. That essentially explains what you can see and do with the tool. A few more things. Here at the end you have a little Twitter icon, and with the general Twitter authorization, once you have clicked on this, you can add a message to your stream that will tell people what you have just seen here. So right now it would read something like the sentiment for the S&P 500 is 79% bearish, 21% bullish at this time. Please note, all that you see here is in real time. How do we know? Very simple. For one, here at the bottom you have this status confirmation, and currently the status is live and connected. And every once in a while you will see that these lines here will change color, as just happened, or as just happening. US dollar, Swiss franc, now Euro US dollar, and that means it's just providing the next real-time update on the tweet count and on the sentiment. How powerful is this tool? At the bottom you can see it. In the last 24 hours it has processed about 30,000 tweets for these maximum of 60 symbols. That may not sound much when you compare it to the 240 million tweets that are sent every day. However, if you would try to read all those 30,000 messages and keep it straight in your head what each message said about any particular symbol, I doubt you would even come close to getting an analytics result that we can represent here in this very easy to use tool. That concludes the presentation and this walkthrough. If you have any questions, do not hesitate. Just drop us a line or send us a tweet, and we'll try to respond as soon as possible. Obviously, our tweet address is @Sentwiment.